This is Bedtime Stories, Grown-Up Edition. Queenpin, Part 6. When we left off, Angela had just wrapped up her consultation with the newest member of Marcia's old practice, her first cousin, Maribel Lopez. Now, we're used to what seems to be coincidence after coincidence, but Angela found out that this was not at all a coincidence. It was a concerted effort, but I didn't tell you in the last episode is that when Maribel walked in, she let her cousin know straight up and down that when Angela and Stephanie's mother, Miss Cheryl, had that little meeting with Jeffrey, Stephanie, and MomBrenda back when she was signing over all of the assets that she'd inherited from her husband, she told MomBrenda all about the Lopez family, swore her to secrecy, and made her promise that if anything ever went on with her girls, she'd call Jeffrey and let him handle whatever needed to be handled. And when MomBrenda found out that Angela was expecting, she did just that. She called Jeffrey and let him know that Marcia was Angela's gynecologist and that Q wanted to be the one to break the news. Jeffrey did what he does and connected Marcia and Maribel. Together, the three women worked to ensure that Angela and her twins got all the minerals, vitamins, organic foods, and things that they needed to stay healthy while they waited for Q's huge surprise. Unfortunately, the ambush happened and Marcia died. Marcia and her partners loved Maribel. They loved what she was doing in the holistic medicine area. They just didn't have room in the practice for a fourth partner. Unfortunately, Marcia's untimely and unexpected death made room. So when the women were looking to replace her, Maribel was the first person that they called. Maribel was resistant at first. She did not want to leave Puerto Rico, but her father encouraged her to put her hat in the race, just in case. And when she learned that Angela was on the island, she put everybody to work. Maribel told Angela that everybody, from the chef to the cooks to the housekeepers and Melissa, were her informants. It kept her in the know about how Angela was feeling and how she was doing, and she made sure that they provided her with all of the herbs, vitamins, nutrients that she needed via her food, and that the chef kept the house stocked with all of the most hydrating fluids that Angela could stand. And it was Melissa's job to make sure they all got in Angela's belly. Once again, Angela was shocked to learn how much the people in her life knew about her family and how little she knew. But she was also overwhelmed with gratitude to know the lengths that they'd all gone to keep her and her children safe, and to honor her husband's wishes, to be the one to tell her for sure that she was pregnant. So unbeknownst to Angela, for the last few days, she'd been off her regimen, and that explained the spike in her blood pressure and the contractions. Maribel was confident that once she was back on her regimen and had it in her system for a few days, all would be well again. Knowing the lengths that MomBrenda had gone to keep her and her children safe made Angela want to see her even more. But Q and Maribel were on the same page. They wanted Angela out of the red and in the green, so to speak, before she took on that feat. They knew that that would be a lot of stress for her, and she didn't need that right now. They asked her to just give it a few more days. So when Donovan was done making a complete fool of himself, Pops Andy said, "Dr. Lopez, please forgive my youngest son. He's a little unruly, and we're still trying to teach him some manners." Dr. Lopez chuckled and said, "Please, call me Maribel, and it's all in jest." Donovan said, "In jest? That means a joke, right? Oh, they always laughing, but I ain't never joking. Let me ask you a question. You single?" Maribel looked at Donovan and said, "You asked the wrong questions," turned and walked out of the room. Donovan followed her into the hallway and said, "Wait a minute, what's the right questions?" Maribel turned, looked at Donovan and said, "Before you approach a woman of my caliber, you need to know two things. One, is she available? And two, is she willing to make herself unavailable to everybody but you. You like to play. Well, so do I. The only difference is, when I play for keeps. You've met my father. He doesn't play at all. Then she swung her waist-lift hair over her shoulders and walked away. As Donovan watched her ample behind strut away, he realized that he was just flirting with the oldest daughter of Emmanuel, Manny Lopez. And then he smelled Issey Miyake all in his nostrils. When he turned around, he was face to face with the man himself, and he'd never even heard him approach. Donovan's phone vibrated in his pocket, and he ignored it. It was Veronica, and when she didn't get an answer, she left a voicemail. Then she called the Queen Mother. When the Queen Mother confirmed that she had Bella over at the house, she decided to go by and lay eyes on her baby girl. She wasn't going to pick her up. She was going to let Donovan bring her home when he was ready. Plus, she needed time to sort through the mixed emotions that she was starting to have as it pertained to Donovan. But she needed to see her baby after all she'd been through over the last few days. When she parked her car, she saw Rennie coming out of the main house. And as the two women approached one another, Veronica said, "I know good and damn well you are not about to live in this woman's house knowing that you plotting on her husband. Especially after I know that Angela is alive." Rennie said, "I don't know what you're talking about, Veronica. You need to be careful making unfounded accusations and directing them towards me. I've been a part of this world. You the newbie." Veronica said, "I know what I saw. And when I tell Angela, I'm sure she'll see it the same way." Rennie said, "Veronica, I haven't even seen you since Donovan took you to Moline. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And neither do you." Veronica said, "Oh, that's because I saw you, but you didn't see me. You, LJ, and Q all had rooms at the Omni in Fort Worth, correct? I saw you, drunk, stumbling outside of Q's room, trying to convince him to let you in. And when he didn't, you pretended like you blacked out and fell into his arms. And then you thought he would carry you to your room. But instead, he carried you to LJ's room. And then you miraculously, spontaneously came to. When he left, you was pissed off. I saw you throw a whole little tantrum because you couldn't trick him." And Rennie said, "And if you repeat that damn story, you'll have to explain to Donovan what the hell you were doing in Fort Worth when you were supposed to be in Moline, keeping his daughter safe. I wonder how Donovan would feel about you having a secret rendezvous in Fort Worth while he was running around trying to save his damn family." When Veronica got quiet, Rennie said, "Checkmate. Please tell me you're not planning on staying here too." Veronica said, "I haven't quite decided yet." Rennie said, "I don't think you want to do that, Nikki. But I will tell you 3 places you can absolutely stay for free at no cost to you." Veronica said, "What? Where can I stay, Rennie?" Rennie said, "You can stay out of my damn face. The hell out of my way. The out of my business." Then, as Rennie walked away, she chest bumped Veronica, looked back at her and said, "Have the day you deserve." Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Manny had just run Donovan's whole life story down to him and told him in no uncertain terms to stay the hell away from his daughter. Not breaking eye contact, Donovan looked at Manny and said, "I'd venture to guess that the men on the island are afraid to even approach the oldest daughter of Emmanuel Lopez. But this ain't the island. I'm not a man from the island, and I ain't afraid of nothing and nobody. If your daughter isn't interested, that's fine. But I'm not going to be intimidated out of pursuing her because of her last name or who her daddy is. I'm a legitimate businessman. And despite whatever you think you know about me, I'm a damn good father. And I've never done anything to any woman that she didn't want me to do since the day my 2 children were born. Yes, from 2 different women. They've been my only focus. I don't have any loose ends. I don't plan to waste your daughter's time. You want to see about me? Then see about me. But don't threaten me. At that moment, the door to Angela's hospital room opened and Pops Andy stepped out. When Manny turned around, the 2 fathers locked eyes, and it looked like 2 gladiators were ready to bump heads. 5 seconds later, the 2 men smiled, slapped up, gave each other bear hugs, and Pops Andy said, "Manuel, it's been a long time, bro." Manny said, "Anders, how could it be that your boys are grown men already?" Donovan just stood there, confused as hell, because not 10 seconds ago, Emmanuel Lopez had just read him for filth, jumped down his throat about having 2 children with 2 different women and not marrying either one of them, questioned his intentions with his daughter, and now he was talking to Pops Andy like they were old friends and like he knew Donovan. His confusion was slightly alleviated when Pops Andy said, "And I haven't seen Maribel and Miranda since they were in pigtails running around my brownstone." Then Donovan remembered. When he was a kid, Manny Lopez, his wife, his 2 daughters, and his son used to be regular visitors at their home in Brooklyn. Then something happened. His mother was missing, and they stopped entertaining the likes of Manny Lopez. His mother cut off all ties with her friends and family, everyone except her best friend Nadia, her husband, and son. Donovan, realizing that he had more questions than answers, turned around and walked away. When he pulled out his phone, he saw that he had a voicemail from Veronica. He listened to it and deleted it. He looked over his shoulder and said, "Pops, I'm gonna head by my house. I'll see you at the estate later."